I'm Bob.
And I'm Dan.
And we're going to take you through a valve clearance check and shim change. We've already done the valve clearance check, and we've taken measurements, and we know we have to change shims on all the exhaust valves. So it's going to be a demystifying process, hopefully, for all of you. This is not a step-by-step video. This is more a video just to show you what happens when you take the ST apart. It's essentially a process. It's very simple to do. It just takes time and patience. So if you just follow through with us, this will be heavily edited, so you'll only see parts of it. But you'll see what's underneath the valve cover. You see how to do valve clearance measures and checks, and you'll also see how to change shims.
This video is for entertainment purposes only.
All right, and so let's start.
Yeah. First thing you do, pull
your plugs out.
Plug wires out.
And that's important because you're going to be turning the crank as you measure the valve clearances, and you don't want the resistance of the compression.
And the plugs are already out. Then what you want to do is, there's two hoses here. Just move the hose clamps back, and then you can pull the hoses back. You can see they're already removed. And same with the one up here. You can just, they push out pretty easy, and they will come off. And then, actually, first unhook the wire, move the wire above the fairing bolt over there, and then that'll get you enough room to move your hoses around.
And just be very patient. The hoses will move.
And then just undoing these three bolts.
And when you do undo these three bolts, do them in a cross hitch pattern. Do this one, then this one, then this one, and this one slowly, so that you do not do one at a time. The reason that's important is you don't want to warp the valve cover. And the valve cover should come off very easily. If it doesn't, just tap it with the palm of your hand.
It just slides right straight up. Just to kind of wiggle it around your wires.
If you turn it over, you can see there's a gasket here that goes all the way around the valve cover. Make sure your gasket's intact. There will probably be some gummy putty around these two eyelets. You'll have to clean that off and replace it when you put it back together. Right now you're basically looking at the two camshafts, the cam chain, and the valve clearance measurements are taken right here. These are the intake ports, these are the exhaust. Okay. What you have to also do is you take two caps off the front of the crankcase. They're located right in the front here. One's about that large and one's a little larger than a silver dollar. Under one cap you turn the crank to change the position of the pistons. On the other is a timing view hole that you align a pointer so you know exactly where the pistons are in the compression cycle. And when you grab your manual, it will tell you exactly what to do. This is on page 310. It tells you how to align the crank to take a measurement. And the first one we're going to measure is going to be in cylinder number 1. And we're going to align the T1 mark on the sensor. Is that aligned, or
no? It's going to be aligned for number 2 because that was the last one that we actually.
That was the last one we did.
Yeah. So I mean.
So why don't we align it for number 1 just so that we can show them how to do that?
Okay. And helps with 2 people to align it. One person with a mirror and a flashlight, and the other person with a wrench. And then you just have to have the one person that can view the timing mark.
We've got a T1, right?
Yep.
If you go past the mark, you don't turn it back the other way, correct?
That's right. You can only go one way, so you've got to. If you're doing it alone, it takes forever to get this right, but it can be done.
Okay, you're getting close. Okay. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. Okay, got the T1 mark lined up there for top dead center for number 1 cylinder. And then you can also check the front of the cams. It has LIN for the intake and LEX for the exhaust. That tells you that the number 1 cylinder is top dead center, and that needs to be straight across the top of the what's this thing called?
The cylinder.
Cylinder.
Can you align it with those marks instead of looking down the front?
No, you've got to line it pretty much perfectly with the pointer.
Okay.
Yeah, the pointer gets you more
Gotcha.
right where you need to be, and then this just helps you
It's
verify
more precise.
it. Yeah.
You can grab this worksheet out of the ST owner site, and it will tell you which cylinder you're working on and give you areas in which you can mark your measurements. I like to do it in millimeters only because it gives you more precision in terms of your measurement. So what we'll do is we'll measure, these two are the intake, and these two are the exhaust for the number 1 cylinder, and we'll measure the exhaust first. And we're only going to do the number 1 cylinder for you because the rest are the same. You just essentially turn the crank to get to the top dead center for the other cylinders. So let's do which one do you want to do first?
We'll do the exhaust. So
Okay.
it should be .254.
It should be 2.25 millimeters plus or minus 0.03 millimeters.
So then with the extended feeler gauges, trying it, the .254 millimeter feeler gauge is too tight. So we're going to go to the next one down.
So what he's doing, he's measuring the gap between the bucket and the camshaft.
And, going to the next one down, which is .229. That one is also too tight. It should slide in with a very slight little bit of resistance, but it's not going in at all.
And if you get a lot of oil when you pull it out, you're actually trying to force the feeler gauge in too much. It shouldn't come out with that much oil on it.
So the .2031 fits and with very little resistance, so that's going to be what the measurement is for.
Okay, we have to do the other
exhaust. Yep. Go
The
back.
number 1 cylinder has 2 exhausts, so we're going to do the other one as well, where we got the feeler gauges out.
It looks like I see you putting in, it looks like the edge of the gauge has just a little bit of resistance as you go through the edge, and then after that...
Yeah, there's a little bit of resistance at the start, and then it seems to go in, but then except this one being the 254 one still isn't going in, so that means obviously that one's tight too.
Okay.
Kind of scrape it onto this thing. So.
Was somebody making a how-to thing with this? Well, if they do, I'll be glad to be a...
That's
That's right here.
Oh, we're all talking through it. Anyway, because I've
Come and
never done-
introduce yourself, you're on the video.
Okay, well, because I've never done this, I'm going to volunteer to be a beta tester if you'd like one.
Okay, good.
Yep, we can
I
definitely do
missed
that.
the beginning and stuff.
All right, so I went to the next one down since the 254 didn't fit. The .230 fits, but it's tight. So I'm gonna go back.
One lower and two.
And that one fits just fine.
Okay, what's that one?
That is .203.
All right, so we mark that on the exhaust for the number 1 cylinder, and we're marking .20 and .20 basically for the 2 exhausts. And let's do the intake.
Should be .16 on the intake. Closest feeler gauge is .152, and that one fits just fine. Go up one just to make sure that it's not too loose, and up one doesn't fit. So that
All right, we'll
one
mark that at
spec.
.152 then, and that's the spec. Let's do the next one.
Back to the .152. That one fits just fine also. So I'll make sure that it's not too loose. And that does not fit, so that one is also right in spec.
All right, so then we'll record that for the number 1 cylinder. We're recording as .152 for one of the intakes and .16 for the other. So in terms of the intakes, just to summarize on cylinder number 1, we're within spec because it's within 0.16 plus or minus 0.03. So nothing has to be done with the intakes, they're fine. On the exhaust for the number 1 cylinder, we're at 0.20 and 0.20, and that would be very tight, tight clearance. What we need to have is 0.25 plus or minus 0.03. So we're going to have a shim change on both the valves in the exhausts of the number 1 cylinder. Now we've done this for all the other cylinders, so we won't take up more time going through that process. And we learned that each of the exhaust cylinders requires a shim change because they're too tight. So we'll be pulling the cams off and putting in new shims for the exhaust all the way around. Do you want to stop the camera? Or
Stop it for a second here and get
All right, feel it. So